Welcome to the Candle Business Coach Podcast, a show about the craft of candle making and small business. I'm your host, Kirsty Allen, and I'm a candle maker, mum of three, and kindness advocator. Join me as I dive into all things candles and small business and deliver advice and tips to you in episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Are you on the list to get my daily motivation emails? Every day I'll send you a message that is designed to help keep you focused on taking action toward your goals. Sign up using the link in the show notes. This episode is brought to you by my free ebook, the Candle Business Marketing Kickstarter Kit. Inside this free ebook, you'll learn to identify your blocks of time to dedicate to your candle business. Plus, there are several tips and tricks for re-engaging past customers and attracting new customers into your business so you can grow your business and reach your goals. Check out the link in the show notes for your copy. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I have a beautiful friend with me on the podcast for today's episode. Her name is Chrissy, and she's from Gum Soapery. So, Chrissy, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Thank you, Kirsty. Thank you for having me, and hello to everybody. It's lovely to be here on your podcast. So thank you for having me.
We were just chatting before we push record, and Chrissy is an avid listener of the podcast and sometimes even listens to them more than once just to soak up all those valuable gold nuggets of information. So I'm super grateful for you, and I'm so happy to have you on the podcast to share your journey and to talk about your story today. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, how you started candle making and how it all began?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Chrissy, and I'm the owner of Gum Soapery. And my journey sort of started as a child when we moved up to Papua New Guinea, and there was no TV back in the early 70s and 80s. And we used to get for birthdays and Christmas lots of DIY kits and things to keep us amused during the school holidays and things. So one of my earliest memories of a DIY kit was a soap making kit. And when I was about 10 years old, and I just couldn't, just combining all the ingredients to then make a soap to then use it was fascinating. And I loved doing that. And I was always making things and doing things. And then in the early 80s, my mum took me down to the candle factory down at the Rocks in Sydney. And it was like a lolly shop where I could choose different waxes, wicks and molds and colour. And there was people behind the counter making candles. And I used to spend ages in there with them in there, just choosing and admiring all the different things there. And I'd make some purchases. My mum would take them back home to New Guinea, and during the school holidays when I went home, I'd make these candles, pyramid candles. The molds were a lot different back then. It was paraffin wax and all those sorts of things. But I really enjoyed just making them and then burning them and all sorts of things. Then later on in the 80s, it was where I went to a market up at Kuranda in Cairns. I think I said that right. There was a stall holder there and a lovely lady, and I was fascinated by her soaps that she'd made. And I was asking her about them, and it was made with essential oils and things in there. And she was telling me the benefits and all sorts of things. And I was amazed at the thought that plants, we could extract the oils from plants and then make these beautiful things with it that smelt divine. So it sort of got me thinking and things. And then my mum bought me a wonderful book called The Fragrant Pharmacy by Valerie Ann Werwood. And I read it and learned a lot more and started making things from the book. And I loved it so much. It fascinated me how you could extract all the oils and things from plants that could bring benefit to you, that I went on to study aromatherapy. and loved being around those people where I'd learned so much from them, and just loved the whole vibe of not only learning about it, but these other really amazing people and what they were doing in their lives with it as well. And so it sort of just has grown, and I've always loved making all sorts of different things from there. But I sort of then a few years back joined a community of soap makers out at Epping, and just in somebody's place, and we all were making soap and things, and I just love being around and wanting to learn more from these people. And I've sort of just evolved with learning from others as well, and watching YouTube and taking bits and pieces from there. And it's actually where I first met Rhonda Nelson, who looks after the Australian Soap and Candle Conference, and got listening to her. And I was really excited that there was such a thing in Australia. So listened to her first conference virtually back in 2021 when it first launched, and it just was so, I learned a lot. And later on, I heard that she was looking for people to sort of help with that. So I put up my hand, and we've sort of just had our second conference in March, and the energy and everything from the room with having that. I love being around people where you learn what they're doing, and it's really inspiring. And I've been really fortunate to keep friends and continue the conversation after the conference has ended with a number of them, and I'm going to visit some as well. But just amazing people out there with everything they're doing, and I love being around people like that. So I've just this month launched my own coffee, candle, and soap makers meeting in local Randwick. So so we'll see how that goes. But just love speaking to different people and learning so much. So yeah, that's sort of been my journey, and evolving through time with my love of making things from a child and to now, sort of thing. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Chrissy. I love that it started with your mum buying DIY things for you, and then it just created this like lifelong obsession, but in a positive way, of wanting to create more and to give back to the community and to be involved with people that can support you on your journey, and you can support them on their journey. And I know, with speaking with lots of different candle makers, that we're a beautiful, beautiful bunch of people. We have such kind hearts. And I think when you're of the mind to create things and then to share them with others, it takes a special type of person, and that definitely describes you. So thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm curious to know, though, with Blossom Gum Soapery, where did the name come from?
So it sort of has evolved with my passion for, plants and flowers and oils coming from that. So my main interest being with Australian essential oils. I've been on a few sort of bush tucker tours, or, things of that nature. It fascinates me how Aboriginals were using plants and the oils extracted from these plants in their everyday life and in what they were doing. And they're really fantastic plants. It just fascinates me. So I that's sort of how the name has evolved. I love eucalyptus particularly. It's one of my main oils that I do have in things, and what that brings. So yeah, that's sort of how the name evolved from
Beautiful.
there.
It's such a nice name as well. Like, it has such a positive vibe to it, and I love that it's significant for you as well. Like, it has meaning, it has symbolism, and it's evolved into what it is today and the business that you have.
No, thank you. Yeah.
So what was the process like when you first started your business? Did you find it overwhelming, or did you sort of hit the ground running because you've had so many years experience doing DIY and learning new things?
Oh, no, it was definitely still a little overwhelming, and I had to just work through the process of what that looks like, how far I wanted to take it, because initially it has been a hobby, but yet I've wanted more. It's sort of my yin and yang to my life because I still have a full-time job that I do when I'm not making candles and soaps and things. So it's my passion. It's what I love to do. And I had to think, well, how far do I want to take this? And I just love doing it. So it was
Mm.
sort of evolved from there.
It's had this, yeah, as you say, this natural evolution of becoming
Mm,
more and more as time has gone on and
that's
bringing
right.
in new products and meeting new people and now doing
Exactly.
is it weekly meetings or weekly coffee catch-ups, or is it fortnightly
I
or
I've just made it monthly to begin
monthly?
with because I'm just
Yeah.
sort of treading the water and just putting it out there and things. So
Yeah.
we'll see what it looks like. And if it becomes more popular, then we may meet more when, to more because not everybody can go on the same day.
Yes.
So we could open that up more. We'll
Yeah, no,
see.
it's such a fantastic thing to create because, as you know, or as you would have heard in the podcast previously, I'm all about community and collaboration over competition, and to create a space where you can have different candle makers and different soap makers and different creators and different craftspeople come together to share their love, to share their passion, not from a space of competition, but from a space where you can elevate each other. I think that's just such a beautiful idea, and I can't wait to hear how it goes.
No, exactly. It is nice to be able to do that and just collaborate and just have fun with it and share that. So,
Yeah,
mm.
definitely. So, when you think about running your business, how do you complete all the tasks needing to be done, particularly because you're working full time as well? How do you fit everything in?
Requires planning. So I sort of set out my week and look at pockets of opportunities. I would love to be doing more than what I am, but for now, this is where I am. And so, I spread out the week and have little tasks here and there that I need to do, with keeping my records up to date, looking at my website, taking, photos and things like that. So, and making sure I've got all my products there to make things when I can. So having
Yes.
them on board, that's important.
Yes, having all the supplies and materials ready to go, because
Mm,
it's not just a matter of saying to yourself, "Oh, I've got 10 minutes, I might make a soap or I might make a candle." You've got to prep the materials. You've got to make sure if you're using a wax melter, make sure that's preheated. You've got to do all these different steps to create these beautiful products. It takes time, and as you say, it takes planning as well. So
that's
it's so
right.
nice to hear that that's a part of your method, or that's a part of your way of operating your business. Because when I speak to many candle makers, they often say, I don't have enough time. And
Mm,
the truth is, we all have 24 hours in a day. Yes, we all have different responsibilities, whether that's work or family or house commitments, whatever it might be. But if this is important to you, you make time for it. You choose to not watch Netflix. You choose to not scroll social media for hours. You invest the time into your business and into your passion.
that's right. So, yeah.
Do you want to tell us about the biggest win that you've had in your business so far?
Developing my website.
Yeah.
Yeah, just getting that to a place where I am comfortable and happy with it. So that's been a long time in the running. So yeah, I'm
Oh, I
happy.
love that. And did you
That's
do it
just coming together.
yourself?
I started to. I
Mm-hmm.
got to a point where I needed help, so I outsourced that. So it's coming together now, and I'm on the tail end. So I'm
Oh,
very.
that's so good to hear. Because
Mm,
as you would know, that takes a lot of time and effort to
it
create a
does.
beautiful looking website. It's not as easy as one might think. It's also not as difficult as you think once you've got the skills and the know-how.
That's right.
And that
That's
takes
right.
its own project and it takes its own adventure trying to learn all the skills that are needed. And yes, there's the free content on the internet and on YouTube, and you can find it via Google and you can figure it out. But sometimes it's a matter of saying, is this worth my time or is it worth outsourcing? And I'm a huge advocate for that. So it's good that you were able to reach that point in the website development to be able to get to where you are now.
Yeah.
On the flip side, what are some of the challenges you've faced along your journey?
Finding good quality essential oils that work well with what I want from my products, quality, that there is some fragrance as well. Just they can smell different to when you then integrate it with your product. So doing a lot of testing and seeing what that looks like and getting some honest feedback from family and friends as I go along the way.
Yes, because as much as we want to test our products ourselves, we can't be burning 50 candles at one time or 20 candles. We need our friends and family to help us out.
That's right.
When you start your candle business, there are so many things to consider and research along the way, especially when it comes to choosing the right suppliers. Long Story Short provides all your design and printing needs, from your logo and branding to designing and printing your product labels. The quality is exceptional, the customer service is amazing, and prices are very reasonable. They are the only label company I recommend, so check out their website or send them an email today to get started. hello@longstoryshortdesign.com.au. What are your goals for your business? Where do you see yourself in the future?
So my goals are, I'm taking small goals and steps, is just to enjoy where I am and the journey that this is leading me on and the people that I'm meeting along the way, but to then get brave and do my first market and things like that and have that all set up and just overcome some challenges for myself in that respect. So that's my immediate goals, and I'm just letting this take me where it does. I'd love to sort of grow more and meet new and more interesting people.
And you'll find that when you go to the market, there's bound to be other candle or soap makers there. It's just the nature of markets. There's a wide variety of people that sell things, but there are so many things that you can sell. So you do find that there is a little bit of duplication, but you get to meet other candle makers and other soap makers and form friendships and form connections and perhaps do collaborations and work on new projects. And it can be such a beautiful and positive space to be in, even though it, of course, is nerve-wracking as well, particularly before your first one, because you don't know what to expect. You don't know exactly how the day will go.
No.
How will you fit everything in the car and then drive there, and where do you go and where do you park, and what if you need the bathroom and it's only you there? And it's all of those sort of questions. But once you've done it once or twice or a few times, you find your flow and it becomes a little bit easier. And that's the same with anything in life. Whenever we do something new or something for the first time, there is that unknown and there is the uncertainty of how it will play out. But everything in life is always happening for us and not to us. So it's just a matter of taking those steps and even appearing on your first podcast, which is what you're doing right now. So, and I love that.
Right. That's right. And I really like your marketing ebook with the checklist, but also the sort of countdown to get to the market and breaking it down, which is what I'm intending to sort of reassure and focus on as I go along.
I love that. I'm so glad that's helped, because when I was putting the ebook together, and I'd done a few markets already, I was thinking how best to convey the information in a way that's not overwhelming. And the idea of putting in the countdown and breaking it down into, what to do when it's 8 weeks out and then 6 weeks out and 4 and 2 and then several days, and breaking it down like that, it makes the whole process less of a mountain. And becomes much more manageable to tackle.
Yeah, that's right.
So how do you prioritize your to-do list each day?
I look at what I want from the week, and I look at the time that I have available to me as to when I can, allocate that task, if you like, to those areas. So every week's a different week, but I do try to fit as much as I can with my time that I have in there. So, yeah.
Do you find that you have many early mornings or late nights or a combination?
Can be a bit of accommodation, more the early mornings where I set myself some time before I start my job. I'm lucky in that my day job is sometimes from home, so there's no travel time. So I use that for myself and my business. So
And as we said before, like it's so important to know what time you have available to work on your business and then actually take the action towards growing your business or making products or marketing yourself or doing social media and wearing all the hats and doing all the things. But if it is so easy to sit back and go and say, I just don't have time and I don't know how I'm going to grow my business and sit in that space, but you don't
yes,
grow in that space. There's no change that occurs. There's nothing propelling you forward. And and that's what you're doing is you're finding that if you just basically get on with it and do what needs to be done because your motivation towards wanting to grow is bigger than your fear of not taking action. So
that's
it
right.
makes sense that you are taking that action each day or each week or whenever the moments present themselves to do whatever you can in that time and enjoy it along the way as well.
That's right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite thing about what you do?
My favorite thing about what I do is the making, but also the joy that it can bring to other people, that they get the same, you know, sense of enjoyment that I do with having made it and sharing that. So it's great. That's what I love.
Yes, it just warms your heart when you, especially like when you go to the market and someone picks up one of your products and smells it and go, oh, that takes me back to my like my grandma's house, or that reminds me of my partner's aftershave, or something like that, where it
Mm,
evokes this positivity or this positive memory inside them, and you are a pivotal part in creating that moment for them. And being able
yes,
to see that in person, or if a customer has purchased a product and they leave a review or they contact you and tell you similar things, it's so nice that you can be a part of that journey for them. And for them, it might just be a soap or a candle or a wax melt or just a product. But for us, there's so much love and so much passion and time and energy that goes into creating these beautiful products so that when they do have a positive experience with them, yeah, it just makes the whole process worth it. And it reaffirms for you that you're on the right path.
yes, I love that.
Mm. What's one lesson your journey has taught you that you think everyone should learn at some point in their life?
That you don't compare yourself to other people, but just take gratitude in where you are and in that moment, and focus on the joy that brings you right there and then. So that's just sort of stay on your journey and appreciate that for what it is
Yes,
what
I'm
I.
just sitting here nodding as I'm like, yes, I love that. That is so beautiful because it's true. Like we tend to compare ourselves to others' journey or where they're at. And often we might be at a stage 3 and we're comparing to someone's stage 8 or stage 10, and it's not the same. And even if we're on the same level, our experiences are different. The skills we bring into our business is different. Our goals are usually different. There's so much variable. So if you can put your blinkers on and just focus on what you need for your life and what you want to achieve, as you say, there's so much more joy to be found in that than to be looking outside of yourself.
Yes,
What gives you motivation to keep going when things get tough?
just the joy, just being around other like-minded people and just what they invoke and inspiration that they pass on. The energy, I guess, is just contagious.
Mm-hmm.
And
Definitely.
that's what drives me, is being around like-minded people like that. It
Yes.
it motivates me and just think, oh, that's really interesting, or what they're doing. I want to read more about that, or, research. I've learnt more from the conference, surrounding things like beeswax. And I've reached out to watch some videos and things now, and reached out to the Bees Association of New South Wales. And now this weekend going to meet a lovely couple who look after the urban beehive and all beekeepers around Sydney. So I'm going to see their beehives and go and have a chat to them and learn more. So that's sort of what motivates me, is just researching, learning new things, meeting new people. That's what inspires me
I
when
love
things get
that.
sort of tough.
Yeah, because they do. You know, life has its ebbs and flows, its highs and its lows. And when you know what works for you and what helps pull you through the harder times to get back into a positive headspace, it's so important to do that and to do it often. So the fact that you know what you need to do for yourself to keep that momentum and that motivation going is really incredible. How do you define success?
So I define success from just, as I sort of touched on earlier, bringing joy to others. And if I can, share what I'm learning, and we can all share together what we're learning along the way, it makes the journey more enjoyable. So success is more about not so much like selling lots and lots of soaps and things like that, or candles and such. It's just in bringing that joy to others as it does to me. That's
Mm-hmm.
what's rewarding.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of those things that where you can impact other people's lives in a positive way, whether that's by, performing acts of random kindness or just being, a good human, a good person in the world, or
That's right.
by being and doing things that light you up that can inspire other people to do the same with their lives and their journey as well.
Exactly.
We've come to one of my favorite parts of the podcast where I ask all my guests 3 questions relating to candles. So, number 1, what is your favorite candle fragrance?
It's actually a candle. I love orange and ylang ylang together, but there's a candle made by Australian company, actually, from the Conscious Candle, got orange and ylang ylang, but also black pepper in it. And it's just beautiful. I just love that combination. So
That
that's
sounds really
my favorite.
nice.
Yeah, it is. So,
So good.
mm.
Number 2, what do you love about candles?
When you walk into a room and there's a candle on, it brings a warmth, and the smell. It can be really uplifting. It's really homely. Just all the things that a candle can bring with it, the memories, or make it uplifting. Everything is
Yeah,
beautiful. It's warm.
pretty much just everything.
Mm.
I love everything about candles.
Mm. That's
And
right.
number 3, what is one piece of advice you'd like to give to other candle makers during their journey?
Just get out there, enjoy what you're doing, speak to as many people as you can, because that's the way we learn, not only by books and watching videos and things, but just get out there, have a go, do lots of testing, just have fun with it and enjoy. So,
Definitely.
mm,
Chrissy, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of the podcast today. I so appreciate your time and your energy and your positivity. For the other listeners that would love to connect in with you, where can we find you online?
so I do have my website. So it's Blossom Gum Soapery, and I can share that. But also I am on Facebook and Instagram as well. So both on there as well. But thank you for having
Perfect.
me.
Oh, you're so welcome. I love that. Actually, what we were talking about before we hit record is Chrissy and I have had many emails back and forth, but I'm in Melbourne and she's in Sydney, so we haven't had a chance to meet yet. But I'll be
No.
one of the guest speakers at the conference next year. And I know Chris is going to be there as well as Rhonda
Yes,
and everyone else that's involved. So we'll get to meet
I
in
know.
March next year, if not
I'm
sooner.
super
So
excited about that.
I'm so excited too,
Meet
and
you
I
in
can't
person.
wait to, yeah, I can't wait to meet you and to meet other candle makers and
Likewise.
soap makers and
Oh,
just be a part of that positive space and just to bring some positivity to it as well. So, but
mm,
thank you so
that's
much
right.
for being part of the podcast.
No,
And
thank you.
yeah, I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for listening today. I hope this episode added value to your candle making journey. Check out the show notes for all the links mentioned throughout today's show, and please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks again for listening. Have a beautiful day.